G'day guys, welcome back to the Rugby League Guru podcast. Round 13 done and dusted in the books. We're going to dive into our rapid review now, brought to you by the Roo Crew. You can hit the link in the description if you would like to come and join the Roo Crew. We've got some merch dropping over the next 2 weeks that will go live to everyone in the Roo Crew first of all, and then whatever is left will go out to the rest of the public. Last time we did merchandise in the Roo Crew, it sold out in about 15 minutes. So if you would like to make sure you can get your paws on that stuff, make sure you join the Roo Crew along with all of the extra content and the early access content that they get in there every single week. The Rugby League Guru Patreon, the Roo Crew. Hit the link in the description to check it out. Now, bye round footy, I always sort of dread it. I never really look forward to it, but I'll tell you what, this weekend, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I thought that was a fantastic weekend of footy. It might not have all been, the most high quality level of games and whatnot, but my God, they were all entertaining. Probably outside of the Bulldogs Knights game. Outside of that, I thought all these games were absolute crackers. They had you on the edge of your seat. You wanted to watch the entire 80 minutes. So there's something pure about bye round footy that still just lures me in, and I just absolutely fucking love it. So plenty to talk about this week. Obviously, State of Origin incoming. You've got Dylan Edwards out, James Tedesco going into New South Wales Origin camp. So a stack to talk about. But let's get stuck into the rapid review and talk all things round 13. We kicked off on Thursday night with the Parramatta Eels taking on the Cronulla Sharks. The Sharkies coming off a pretty tough couple of weeks in the Shire. The Parramatta Eels welcoming back some big names in Mitch Moses and Clint Gutherson. I'll tell you what, Mitch Moses coming into this side, it was just night and day. I still think to some extent we undervalue just how important a quality seven is. And in my opinion, there's only really a handful or so, probably a little bit more than a handful of real quality sevens. There's good sevens, but quality sevens that every single week can win you a game of football, there's not too many of them around. In my opinion, Mitch Moses, he is without a doubt one of those guys. And it was just amazing how different the side looked automatically, how much better Dill Brown looked. They had direction. Mitch Moses just completely flips this side on its head. And I thought in this game, he was unreal, Mitch Moses. Really took control, gave them a heap of direction. He was fantastic. I thought the junior baller had a really good game, scored a cracking try as well. My God. Just watching him on the Matty Johns show now, and when he gets ahead of steam behind him, good fucking luck. I'll catch you next week. No, thank you. Will Pensini had a very good game as well. Micah Sivo came up with a daily double. A good knock by the Parramatta Eels, obviously getting troops back, but they are without Madison. They are without Hopgood. First game back for those guys in quite some time, Moses and Gutho. So there's a lot of challenges that come with that, and I just thought they did an incredible job. I thought Brendan Hands was really good defensively through the middle as well. Obviously played big minutes at hooker, played the full 80 at hooker. I thought Kelma Tuolangi, that was the best game of football I've probably seen him play in attack anyway. Defensively, there are still issues there, but in attack, he was sensational, Kelma Tuolangi. Bryce Cartwright came up with some really nice plays as well. Honestly, a really good all-round game by the Parramatta Eels. Did concede, 22 points, but I mean, compared to how they've been going recently, if I was an Eels fan, I'd be absolutely stoked with that. And they really are just a different football side once you get their two big dogs back in, as they should be. But I can't believe, take out scoreboard and everything, I just can't believe how different they look each and every set, simply by having Mitch Moses on the field and just having Gutho roaming around. Blaze Talangi was a big talking point during the week from a Supercoach point of view, did not get on the field. There was a moment there where they gave him 2 Supercoach points at one point. They obviously took that off, thankfully. That would have been a nightmare for everyone out there. But yeah, Blaze didn't get on the field. They didn't need him out there. Sean Lane only played the 35-odd minutes. Sean Lane could honestly in 18 months go from, I was very close to picking him in the World Cup squad for the Kangaroos. I genuinely was. And 18 months later, looks like he's going to really struggle to continue to make this side. And that's with Ryan Madison out as well. We want to wish Maddo all the very best. Sounds like some form of head symptoms there. I'm not sure if it is concussion or whatever it might be, but we want to wish Maddo all the very best. So, yeah, very good win by the Parramatta Eels. Onto the Sharkies. Pretty disappointing. I thought that you would see a real bounce back from the Sharkies, and they competed in this game, and they scored some cracking tries too as well, just quietly. The try that I believe Will Kennedy scored, where they went down the left edge, that was fantastic. Mulatalo had a strong game. Sione Katoa scored a double. Dan Atkinson crashed over as well. Obviously, Trindle. Blake Brayley got through a stack of work, 55 tackles he got through. Brayley, Mulatalo with 232 run meters. I know he's not coming up with huge attacking plays and whatnot, but Kale Iro, another 160 run meters. Jesse Ramian, a tough 180 run meters as well. Positive to take from this for the Sharkies, but just as a whole, and I know that this game was without Cam McInnes, without Hines, and obviously they missed Hines, but I thought they really missed Cam McInnes through the middle as well. So I don't know how much to read into this Sharkies performance, to be completely honest with you. I'm not sure who they play next week, the Sharkies, but whether they'll have Nico Hines and Cam McInnes for that remains to be seen. They might even have a bye next week, the Sharkies, do they? No, Christ, they play the Broncos up there at Suncorp. For a team that beat the Melbourne Storm a few weeks ago without Nico Hines, I'll tell you what, it has turned very, very quickly. And I'm not writing off the Sharkies by any means, but it has been very interesting to watch how this has all sort of changed over the last few weeks. So over to the Sharkies now. We'll see how they and Craig Fitzgibbon respond. But a huge test next week going up against the Brisbane Broncos, who hopefully will be without a few Origin players for the Sharkies' sakes. And you might even see Nico Hines under an injury cloud. Does he back up? I'm not too sure. That game's on the Saturday night, is it? No, it's Saturday night, 7:35 up there at Suncorp. So interesting game there for the Sharkies. But yeah, Parramatta too good in this game. I just think the big talking point is the influence that Mitch Moses has on this side. Clint Gutherson also 279 run meters, tough as nails. Gutho, I would have loved to have seen Blaze Talangi given an opportunity at fullback, and I don't know. It sounds like Bailey Simonson. There's a suspected ACL injury there potentially, so we'll see how that plays out. We want to wish Bailey all the very best. But if he was to go down, I do wonder if that maybe forces his hand to maybe move Gutho to the centres and play Blaze Talangi at fullback, or whether Blaze just goes out there. Defensively, I wouldn't want Blaze in the front line at the moment. But a fantastic win by the Parramatta Eels. The Friday night game, just the one on Friday night, the Canterbury Bulldogs knocking over the Newcastle Knights in Newcastle, 32 points to 2. The Newcastle Knights not held scoreless, but held tryless at home. You do not see that very often. I would imagine it's been a while since that's happened. Probably we're thinking back to sort of the wooden spoon days, I would assume. And we'll start with the Canterbury Bulldogs because a fantastic win from them. Josh Adokar absolutely lit it up early, then got injured. It sounds like, according to Phil Gould, he could miss 6 to 8 weeks, which is dreadful news for Josh Adokar, one of the good guys of rugby league. Very disappointing. Jacob Preston, he also scored a double along with Josh Adokar. He was tremendous in this game, Jacob Preston. To think that he was their best player last year and their best forward by a country mile, to then start the season well, get injured, and then not be able to get back into the starting team. It was only Viliami Kikau being out that opened up an opportunity for him here, and he bounces back with a 2-try performance. He was very, very good, Jacob Preston. So shout out to him, a guy that I still think has got Origin potential in the future. A very talented player, Jacob Preston. Bronson Xerri scored a nice little try, and Josh Curran scored a cracker of a try as well. Little rebound of a kick from Reid Marnie that he sort of kicked on the half volley and not scooped it up, grounded it just before the dead ball line. Very good reactions from Josh Curran. I think the guy to talk about in this game, though, is Reid Marnie. I thought he was in fantastic form. Was sort of niggling early, but then just really concentrated on his footy, defended well, attacked well, kicked well, just did everything that he needed to do, Reid Marnie. And then at the back end of the game, got his own little personal reward. He obviously got Jacob Saifidi reacting to him with a headbutt, a pretty bad headbutt too, which saw him sent from the field. I personally, and I know I'm not out there and I get that 100%, but I think Adam O'Brien said it in the press conference as well. Like, you know what this guy's going to do every single week. You know what Reid Marnie's about. You know he's going to come at you. I can't believe so many guys give him the reaction that he's looking for. I think it's wild. He must be very, very good at what he does because you know it's coming all week. Surely it is something that these teams are talking about as they go to play Canterbury. But full credit to him, Reid. He is bloody good at what he does. I think it needs to be considered as well that obviously, Saifidi got sin bin in the last 2 minutes. The game was over by then. But Canterbury won this 32 points to 2 with 2 sin bins. Connor Tracy early, Toby Sexton a little bit later. To lose your fullback and your halfback, different points throughout this game for 10 minutes in Newcastle. very, very impressive. We spoke about it during the week. Their defence is sensational, Canterbury, second best in the competition, and only conceded 2 points here to the Newcastle Knights, who, they're without KP, but you've got to remember, this Knights side has won 4 games on the trot. Like, not a bunch of slouches up there. So very, very impressive by Canterbury. Sorrell, though, he's starting to do some really impressive things over there at Belmore, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for what they're doing at the moment. For the Newcastle Knights, obviously a very, very disappointing performance. Not too many highlights, to be honest with you. I thought Jaden Brayley was good. Phoenix Crossland was good when he got on the field as well. Dylan Lucas had his moments. Adam Elliott was really good, to be fair. I thought he had a very good game. But outside of that, not too many positives to take away from this game. I thought that their attack was very predictable. Obviously, they played flat a lot of the night. I thought that, and that's obviously a hallmark of Jacko Hastings' game, but I did think that he sort of overdid it a little bit in this game. I think when you look at the last 4 weeks, one of the stars of the show has been Davey Armstrong, and I think that early he was a little bit rattled. I think when he made that first mistake, you could tell he sort of went into his shell a little bit. Wouldn't be surprised if the halves were sort of aware of that to some extent as well when you have a look at the way they played, because it was very predictable, and it's like they had a game plan that just didn't quite pan out for them. But when that happens, you've got to be able to adapt. And I think that was the most disappointing thing about the Newcastle Knights, that they didn't adapt their game plan throughout this game. I know that Joey said in commentary he'd like to see Will Price come to the side, and I actually completely agree with what Adam O'Brien said post-game. I don't think Will Price is the answer. I think he's still got a lot more to learn when it comes to the NRL. I think if you look at highlights and stats and stuff, it looks very impressive, Will Price. But I think if you actually watch his games and you watch his consistency, still a lot of question marks for me. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'd be sticking with their halves. I still think they've got 2 very talented halves. I'm very confident they will stick with them. A lot of people calling for the head of Jackson Hastings this week, and I agree. Jackson didn't have a great game, and you guys might think, oh, you're just mates with him, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, he's a halfback that arrived at a club that was coming 14th. He got them to 5th. We said in the preseason last year, we think he'll be the key to unlocking Kalen Ponga. He won a Dally M medal. Like, Jackson didn't play well in this game, 100%. I agree with you. But people calling for him to be axed from this side, wild take in my opinion. Fucking wild take. Didn't have his best game. Give him a chance to respond. And he got you to 5th place last year on the ladder. Yeah, just be patient there. I thought Greg Marzio had some moments to forget in this game. A really poor challenge. There was a try that I think it was Jacob Preston scored in the second half where the ball was loose on the ground, and thankfully Preston scored because Greg Marzio had just about given up on the play. And if it wasn't Preston that scored, it would have been the winger outside Greg Marzio after he'd given up. So I'm sure that'll be something they'll talk about in their video session this week. Kai Pearce-Paul, solid, got through a heap of work. Honestly, like I think that if Marzio scores that first try, which is another just moment that I couldn't believe, Jackson Hastings kicked over to him. I think he was going to score for all money, and I think he just came up with the wrong options, got pushed into touch. I think if they score that try, this game could have been very, very different. But after that, they just weren't able to wrangle momentum back. They got close to scoring on a few occasions. Dylan Lucas, a huge play there by Canterbury. I think the Canterbury scramble defence was just sensational, and that's your dogs of war kind of stuff that you love to see. But very disappointing game by the Newcastle Knights. I think they take on the Melbourne Storm next week, so another big test coming their way. All right, let's move to the Super Saturday games. The Dragons knocked over the Panthers 22 points to 10. I did not see this coming, to be honest with you. I thought that when the Panthers led, I think it was 10-0, they went in at halftime, 10-0. I thought, okay, this would just be too much for the St. George Illawarra Dragons. I heard post-game Flano saying that he used one of his big sprays, one of his 2 to 3 big sprays that you have each year as a coach at halftime in this game, and he certainly got a response out of them. And I thought, it was very evident at the end of the game. Jack DeBellin was at dummy half. He finished with the ball, and he threw the ball in the air, yelling, screaming. I'm not sure what went on at halftime there, but I think Flano had a big crack at them and really challenged them. And his Dragons, they responded 22 points to 0 in the second half over the Penrith Panthers. Missing players, I get it, 100%. I get it. But what we've learned over the last few years is that any Penrith Panthers team you're going to come out against, they are going to be a quality footy side. So the Dragons, they didn't beat the full-strength Penrith Panthers. It wasn't the 4-time premiership-winning Penrith Panthers, but it was still a very good side out there with a lot of talented footballers, and they had to play tough, and they had to play gritty footy out there to win that one, the Dragons. So credit to them. I thought Raymond Faitala-Mariner was great, scored a try late, but I just thought throughout the game he was really good. I thought Kyle Flanagan had a good game as well. plenty to love about his performance. Couchman that came off the bench, there was obviously two of them, and I always get them confused. So I apologise, but Ryan Couchman scored a try, which was a great try. But, 94 run meters off 10 runs. I feel like he made 20-odd tackles or so. He was very good. 29 tackles, 0 missed. Honestly, just reminded me a lot of Jack DeBellin. I actually mistake them for each other a few times throughout this game. He was very good. Tommy Eisenhuth, a good bounce back in this game off the back of a very poor performance last week. He was solid. Luciano Leilua had some nice moments. Look, just a good all-round game by the Dragons. I was very worried about their outside backs coming into this game. But look, they were all pretty good. I'm not sure how many meters they ran for or whatnot, but it felt like they got through a lot. Sione Finau, who was very good, 184 run meters. Looks like a talented player. Sully, 132. Max Fangai, 101. Matty Fangai, 173. Just got through work. I'll tell you who I love, the halfback, Jesse Marshke. I know he's not the most traditional player, and I know he's not a out-and-out 7 or whatever it might be, but I really like watching him play. I enjoy watching him play. He's a good player. Liam Henry as well. We'll jump into the Penrith Panthers now. Liam Henry, 76 tackles, I think it ended up being. Just having a look at the stats here to see if anything has changed with Liam Henry. I know they update these as the weekend goes. Let's have a look. Geez, you have to scroll a long way to get to tackles now. Liam Henry, 71 tackles, so it ended up being downgraded to 71. Still an incredible effort. Like, not to overshadow that, but Lindsay Smith as well, 61 tackles. Very, very impressive. Liam Henry, look, I've been saying for a long time, I think he's a guy that will play Origin in the future. Doesn't surprise me that he's able to come up with games like this. And look, outside of this, I don't think it was his greatest game of all time. He obviously came up with a couple of errors. I think he had a penalty or two in there as well. But geez, just to be able to get through that much work, it says something about the character of this guy. I believe he's a Blaney Bear near Orange there in country New South Wales. I think he's got a big future in his hands, and I don't think the Penrith Panthers, obviously, I'm saying I don't think, they obviously weren't happy to let James Fisher-Harris go, but just having a look at the guys they've got coming through, and Liam Henry in particular, Lindsay Smith, I think there is a quiet little confidence to the Penrith Panthers that they will be able to get by despite the massive hole that he will leave. I thought that Jesse McLean, we've been talking about him for quite some time, and you'll see Casey McLean soon as well, his younger brother. But I thought he was really, really good. Did a lot of work coming out of his own end. Scored a try that was fucking unbelievable in the pissing rain. This kid's got so much ability, it's not even funny. Ran for 111 metres. I thought he actually went for more than that. It felt like he ran for more than that. Paul Alamotti, 159 metres. He was very, very good. Dane Laurie, 185. Very solid. Fish, 160 odd metres. But yeah, disappointing by the Penrith Panthers. Obviously did not score a try in the second half. Huge letdown. But once again, you're running out with a spine of Brad Schneider, Jack Cole, and Dane Laurie. Very different to their usual side, obviously. So I don't know how much you read into it once again. I thought Mitch Kenny was really solid playing 9. I thought he really got himself involved. Probably overplayed his hand a little bit at times. But I did love the pressure that the Penrith Panthers were building. And, they kept to their game plan. They just didn't have the guys that could put the icing on the cake in the second half that they usually do in this footy side. So I don't look into it all that much. I'm also just look at the Dragons go, that was a gutsy performance. You went up against a club that is very well run, a system that no matter who they put out there, they produce a good football side. You were down 10-0. You won 22 points to 10 at Penrith in the rain. I mean, without Ben Hunt as well, without Ben Hunt and Zach Lomax, who in my opinion are the Dragons by far and away 2 best players or 2 of their 3 best players. So as much as Penrith are missing guys, they were at home. They had plenty. The Dragons were missing their 2 biggest stars by far and away, and they found a way to get the job done. So shout out to the Dragons and Dragons fans. Enjoy that one. Lap it up, Red V. All right, Dolphins, Raiders. Holy, this game was off its fucking head. Insane. Myself, Sebo, and Tommy Birmingham, we took the unders 49.5. So this was a brutal way to finish Super Saturday. Very, very tough, but 26 points to 25, the Raiders beating the Dolphins. We'll start with the Raiders, and obviously the man of the moment, Jordan Rapana, who apparently turned into Keith fucking Barnes the other night. 4 from 4 goals. And kicked 2 field goals. He was everywhere, Jordan Rapana. Yeah, he's a little bit Magoo in what he does. He's a little bit unorthodox in what he does, but how you can't love this guy, I will never know. One of my favourite guys in rugby league, one of the best blokes to play our game, and you love to see guys like this have their moment. Had never kicked a field goal in the NRL before and came up with 2 in 10 minutes to win this game for the Raiders, and it was ugly. It was rank at times. But that's Raiders footy. They just hang in there and they just give themselves opportunities to try and pull things out of their arse. And in this occasion, they did. Even the field goal at the end came off hands, reverse spiral, spinning drop kick or whatever the hell it was, but just found a way over. And that's how the Raiders do things. They don't have a superstar roster. They're not able to go out and buy recruits that are worth millions and millions of dollars. So they just go about, they play tough fucking footy, they hang in the contest, and they just give themselves opportunities to produce things at the back end of games. And they've done it again here. I thought the individual try from KL Weeks was sensational. Elliot Whitehead, no stranger to finding the try line at the moment. Xavier Savage, he obviously scored, but I just thought in general he had a really, really good game, Savage. Obviously, I was very worried about him during last season, whether he was just going to be up to first grade. A couple of weeks ago, he had a pretty poor game as well, but he certainly has bounced back, and Ricky's getting the best out of him. Joe Tarpanay. Mate, I looked at his Supercoach stats at the end of the game and went, I forgot that Joe Tarpanay scored a try. And then I went, hold on, I don't think he did. Let's read through this stat sheet. Now, obviously, it's a little bit bumped up because it went to extra time. But, I mean, I don't really give a fuck, to be honest with you. 63 minutes. He ran for 216 run meters. He had 1 line break. He had 81 post-contact meters. He had 3 offloads, 25 touches of the football. Tackles, how many did he come up with? 51 tackles, Joe Tarpanay, with only 1 missed. A very, very impressive performance, Joe Tarpanay, one that we'll probably look at from a Supercoach point of view over the next few weeks. Outside of that, probably not a heap to touch on. Morgan Smithy's got an injury late. We'll wait and see what's going on with Morgan Smithy's. But one of those games where, even Jordan Rapana, kicked the 2 field goals, kicked all of his goals, was fantastic. Didn't have like a 10 out of 10 game or anything like that. And it's sort of hard to pick with these Raiders sides who are the absolute standout guns outside of Joe Tarpanay. Ata Mariota had a good game, to be fair. But look, they are just a good team, the Canberra Raiders. They bind together. They're happy to bite down on the mouth guard and just hang in games and give themselves opportunities to maybe win games at the end. And they found a way once again. So full credit to them. The Dolphins. This is a disappointing one. Obviously hung in this game for so long. They just came up against a real gritty side here. They lost Jesse Bromwich early. They lost Trey Fuller, obviously missing Hamiso. They lost Herbie Farmworth at a pretty key point to go off for a HIA as well. So they had plenty go against them, the Dolphins, and I thought they kicked really well. Isaiah Katoa, he had an absolute blinder as far as the kicking game went. They had their opportunities to win this game, just weren't able to get the job done though. I thought Jeremy Marshall-King was tremendous. He was very good out of hooker, scored a nice little try, but was just scheming all night. Ewan Aiken had an absolute cracker as well. I'm loving watching Ewan Aiken play his footy this year. Really having a very, very solid season. Maxi Plath, my boy, 78 minutes. Just going to go through his stats. 78 minutes, 145 run meters. How many tackles did he get through? He must have got through 30 or 40 tackles here, surely. God, it's hard to read the NRL stats since they've added all these new columns. Max Plath made 53 tackles. A huge performance. He is a star. I think he's a star now, to be honest with you, Max Platt. The way that he plays his footy every week, came down with a very, very key charge down in this game, and Australia looked at that and went, oh my God, origin moment. That's what Max Plath is all about. Then, of course, he gives away the penalty 4 seconds later. I had to delete that status on Twitter pretty damn quickly. But yeah, Max Plath, I thought he had a really good game outside of that one moment at the back end. Thought Mark Nichols was really solid, 142 run meters in this game. He was very good. Raymond Stone came on for a very good stint as well. Herbie Farmworth, 208 run meters at centre. Very, very impressive. Trey Fuller didn't really have his big moment like he has in other games, but held his own. I'd be very disappointed if I was the Dolphins because they hung in this game for so long that a few things go against them. But yeah, I mean, you can't win them all. It is the reality of it. Plenty to learn from this one. Obviously, Anthony Milford jumped in at 5'8". I think they really missed Cody Nikorima. Anthony Milford didn't really have all that much impact on this game. And I think Isaiah Katoa, just in attack, did miss Cody Nikorima as well. And I think they obviously missed him and Hamiso quite a bit in this one. But yeah, once again, Isaiah Katoa, his kicking game was tremendous in this game. I think he needs a really, really big shout out for that. I know they didn't win the game and it might be forgotten about, but his kicking game was unbelievable in this game. Very good. All right, let's move to the game that just wrapped up. We thought as there was just one Sunday game this Sunday that we'd wait to do the rapid review until after. And my God, Cowboys 18 over the Roosters 16. Now, we've just watched this one live and jumped behind the mic, so forgive me if we don't have as much detail. We'll start with the Cowboys first. And you know, we spoke about it last year that Origin seemingly arrived for the Cowboys and they seem to find form all of a sudden. Is it happening again? I have no fucking idea, to be honest with you. But I've watched the Cowboys, and as you guys know, most of my Supercoach draft team is built around the North Queensland Cowboys. So I've watched them very closely this year, and their middle, it just gets beaten to a pulp. And when you've got guys like Ruben Cotter and Reece Robson, great defensive players in there, you take them out. I just thought, oh my God, they're going to absolutely run riot, the Roosters. Obviously, they're missing a fair whack of players in middle forwards as well. Lindsay Collins, Spencer Leniu, Angus Crichton not there, Teddy there. Plenty of guys that cause a heap of damage, but they still had a star-studded side, the Sydney Roosters, and I just thought that they would do the Cowboys over. Todd Payton, he's got a reaction out of this side, same as he did in Origin last year. They were tremendous. I thought Braden Burns, he obviously scored the first try for the North Queensland Cowboys, but I felt like he got through an absolute stack of work, Braden Burns. I haven't had a look at the stats yet or anything, but just from eyeballing the game, Braden Burns, he obviously scored his try. He ran for 167 run meters, Braden Burns, off 17 runs. Very good. Obviously had the one line break, had a few offloads as well, so you'll love to see that. Thought Valea was solid in this game as well. Kyle Felt just did his job. I don't know why Kyle Felt's not competing for balls in the air. Maybe it was just because it was a Daniel Tupu thing and he's one of the best in the air we've ever seen. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's just part of their game plan just to keep the ball down the other end. I thought the debutant, Jackson Purdue, my God, he moves well. Obviously, not a guy that's going to eat up a stack of meters and whatnot. He still ran for 110 meters at centre, to be fair. But just the way he moves, I remember watching him in the trials this year, and I sort of sat back and went, "Oh wow, this kid's got something." I'm not sure what his best position is, whether he's halfback, fullback. He played centre today. I don't think he's a centre, but my God, he just glides over the turf. Very impressive. Scotty Drinkwater, obviously the star of the show for the North Queensland Cowboys, took over the goal kicking today, which wasn't tremendous. Scored a really good try. Had a hand in another, had 3 line breaks himself, 1 try assist, 1 line break assist, 130 run meters, broke 10 tackles as well. So Scotty Drinkwater, when they needed him to stand up, he certainly did. Braden Burns had 5 tackle breaks as well, to his credit. Look, shout out to the Cowboys. I gave them next to no hope, as I think most of us did. I know Random Stats Guy had a sneaky little wager on his Cowboys, and they got the job done for him. So shout out to him. His shout this week. Jake Granville, very good in defence. 45 tackles through the middle. I thought Finay Fuiaki had some really nice moments. Obviously scored the try, but I just thought he was really damaging throughout this game. Obviously Victor Radley was marking him and did a good job. But I thought Finay Fuiaki was very, very good. This Jamal Shibashaki, first time I've seen him play. A lot of people in North Queensland and in Queensland in general are very high on him, and you could see the ability that he's got. Jason Taumalolo, 170 run meters, starting to get back to playing some of his best footy as well. Great to see. Yeah, the Cowboys, what a victory. If you're a Cowboys fan, you should be very, very proud of your boys. Hopefully it is a turning point. Hopefully they can get those Origin boys back over the next few weeks, and maybe they can start to build some momentum, because I mean, for as poor as it feels like the Cowboys been, and when I say as poor as it feels like they've been, as poor as they have been, they're really not that far outside the top 8. They are 1 win outside the top 8. Now, obviously, they've got worse for and against than other sides and whatnot. Not crazy worse, to be fair. The differential is +2. The Warriors are -3. The Dragons are -76. The Knights are -39. So they're actually not. They're actually got a better for and against than the 3 teams above them, to be fair. So if they can string a couple of wins together, the Cowboys could break this open very, very quickly. As I've always, and this is why when we did contenders, pretenders the other day, I had them at the bottom of my contenders. Everyone was like, how could you do that? They've got to be in your pretenders. And I get where you're coming from. But they've just got so much fucking potential up there that if defensively, they don't even have to be the Penrith Panthers. If they can just be a 7 out of 10 defensive side. They've got the attack to take on anyone and really break this competition open. So we'll see how it plays out for the Cowboys, but very good performance there. You got to love that as a Cows fan. For the Roosters, obviously lost. They lost James Tedesco today. Had to go into New South Wales camp. Congratulations to Teddy getting a call up again. Joey Manu jumped in at fullback. Went about his normal stuff. Ran for his 200 metres. The passing was a little bit all over the place though, as it always is. But you can never question Manu's effort there. He tried everything he possibly could. Tom Young was good. 185 run metres. Few errors, but good run metres there. Man, I like this Powger. Whenever they have a rep player go play Origin or whatever it might be, or an injury, he comes in. I always think he's really solid, a very good player. Sammy Walker, Sam Walker had some nice plays in this. 2 tries. Is that one that he set up for Dom Young? That was just backyard touch footy. That's proper Walker footy there. Everyone on the eyes to the left-hand side for the spread, and he just looks up and goes, nah, I know what's going to happen here. I'll fuck with the markers, and I'll put Dom Young back down the short side. Incredible stuff. Terrell May. Oh, boy. Big game, Terrell May. 75 minutes, 1 try, 129 run meters. How many tackle breaks did he have? 9 tackle breaks, Terrell May. He was fucking everywhere, along with 49 tackles and 0 missed. If you like me and Tim and you held him during this Supercoach period, you'd be absolutely stoked with his performance today. Butcher and Radley, 40-odd tackles each. Few mixed tackles from Victor Radley on Finay Fuweaki there, which he won't be overly happy about. I thought White was very good as well. He's a talented kid. He's really come along, White, over the last couple of months, I would say is fair. I think he started to show a bit of promise last year, but you can really see it now. A very good player. And yeah, we already mentioned some of the boys that made their debut for the Cowboys and for the Sydney Roosters. Blake Steep played 14 minutes when he come on there. A real kid of the future. I guarantee you Blake Steep will play some rep football. I love to see that his first contact, not his first touch of the football, but his first contact in rugby league, tackled Jason Taumalolo. So for a young kid coming through, that is pretty surreal for your first bit of contact to be tackling Jason Taumalolo. I personally couldn't think of anything fucking worse. But yeah, look, the Sydney Roosters, they'll be disappointed with that, obviously missing troops and whatnot. And I thought a number of times they had the momentum and they were dominating the middle enough to blow the Cowboys away. But you got to give credit to the Cowboys. They were gritty. They hung in that contest, and full credit to them. But yeah, disappointing by the Sydney Roosters there. Guys, that is our rapid review done and doosted, as Kempy likes to say. Huge week coming up here on the Rugby League Guru podcast. We have obviously got State of Origin on Wednesday night, so a heap of content coming your way. We'll be on Bloke in a Bar tomorrow, or today if you're listening on the podcast, reviewing that, doing the deep review for round 13. As I said, guys, today's podcast brought to you by the Roo Crew, the Rugby League Guru Patreon. If you would like to come and join the community over there for all of our extra content, your exclusive content, your early access content, and your first dibs on all Guru merchandise, $8 a month, which is just $2 a week, along with all of your Supercoach stuff, all your Supercoach stats. Personally, I think if you're a serious Supercoach player and you're not in there, you're fucking kidding yourself. The stats you're able to get in there and stuff, they are second to none. Come in, have a look. If you don't like it, hit the frog and toad, get out of there. But I guarantee you for $2 a week, there is an absolute stack of value in there for you. And there are going to be a few giveaways in there this week as well. Maybe some Origin tickets. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you for joining us once again, guys, on the Rapid Review. We will see you soon.